better, and I don't think it's getting better. And I don't know when the day came that it was constitutional for us to all own part of an automobile company or a bank or any of the other things that we now own part of. I believe that's all unconstitutional, and it's going to get us into even more trouble than we're in now.
Talk about the details of all of these issues on the line. To me, there's only one issue. If you go to the details, it does nothing but continue to create chaos. We have these. It's called the Constitution. I want to know how the issues, whether it be cap and trade, health care, the Give Act, where my son's future was sold, all of these issues, cash for clunkers, where is it supported in here that we can even do it? And to me,
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm concerned about, I haven't read the whole health bill because it's very confusing, but I'm in healthcare, I'm a nurse. And my concern is when this, if this gets passed, the Medicare, which is a government program, reimburses the hospitals and care providers at a lower rate than does private.
That's right.
Medicaid. And even Medicaid is so bad, a lot of doctors will not accept Medicaid patients because the reimbursement is so unfair to them. They have their staff to pay, they work 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We call doctors in the middle of the night for their patients, and they answer our questions and give us doctor's orders. So they deserve what they make. They do deserve it. They come out of school with thousands of dollars in debt.
Ma'am, where do you work? Where do you work?
Should I say Clarence Health?
Okay. It's okay.
And I'm just concerned that, with the reimbursement of the current government programs, the new government program will reimburse less, and there will be less competition, and we will be forced to accept whatever the government is willing to pay us instead of what it will work.
In the last presidential campaign, there was a side deal cut. Now, the side deal that was cut between the leading, between the campaigns at the time of President Obama with the single-payer advocates. The President has articulated, even when he ran for the Senate in 2003, that he supports a single-payer system. Then, in 2007, while running then for the presidency, these individuals in his campaign then went to the single-payer advocates and asked for their support of the public option. Come our way to a public option. The reason the President was advocating at the time as a presidential candidate as a public option is that he understood that there had to be a transitory time frame to migrate the American people off of the employer-based system to a single-payer system. And the only way you could do that is to create a mechanism for that to occur. And that is called the health exchange, and it's called the public option plan. And it's what?
That's called solidarity.
Well, I don't care what you're going to call it. It's not healthy for America. Okay? So, then to your question about reimbursement rates, the purpose here of this plan, okay, they're called the public option plan, but what are they really trying to do? So when the Lumen Group analyzed this, they said, okay, of the employer-based sponsored plans, they anticipate about 110 million people, of whom are on health insurance today, will end up migrating to the public option. Now, how does that occur? It's because employers will trigger you. And you get triggered into it. You'll have major industries in America whom will come under attack even by stockholders by saying, wait a minute, if you can either pay the 8% payroll tax versus the 9.5% you're paying for health care, dump them all into the government plan and pay the 8% tax. And so what happens is this migration of people on purpose gets triggered through the health exchange. Well, Mr. President, lead America and you go to the public plan first. In order to make all of this work, the Medicare reimbursement rate. Now let me just say about this for a second. The doctors and the health providers always, for the 17 years that I've been doing this, always complain to me about the reimbursement rate. Well, the reimbursement rate between the government programs, whether it's Medicaid, Medicare, or TRICARE, the TRICARE program, have lower reimbursement rates. Well, when they have lower reimbursement rates, these health providers have to make up the differential. In order to make up the differential, there's a cost shift then to the rest, to you, right? To you to do that. And so what will happen when 110 million people migrate to the single payer plan, which is taking people and putting it under the providers. So your employer then is going to lose about 27% of its reimbursement rate, okay? And so when you lose that reimbursement rate, and on top of that 110 million people migration, then add about 20 million people of whom we're increasing on the rolls of Medicaid. So now we're up to about 100 and, do the math, 140 million people of whom we're going to now have lower reimbursement rates. Now, to Clarion, I don't want to pick on Clarion, but you mentioned Clarion. Clarion built new facilities. They're not the only ones in America that have built new facilities. When you build these new facilities, you did it based upon a financial reimbursement plan. As a pure business person, how do you make your business work if all of a sudden somebody comes along one day and says 27% less? Now we have a serious problem when that occurs. And we end up in the rationing of healthcare in order to make that happen. And so there's a reason seniors are pretty alarmed. There's a reason. So man, you have every reason to be pretty concerned about the bill with regard to the Medicare reimbursement rates, because the public option, if you're a Medicare provider under the bill, then you get Medicare reimbursement rate plus 5%. And they can't make it work on that.